lecture series on soil mechanics. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the capillarity and permeability concepts in soil mechanics. This is very important area for GATE, IES and PSC examinations, where a definite question can be expected. You can expect a definite question here. This concept is also known as flow through soils. So, to begin this session, we begin with soil water. Soil water. So water is there inside the soil mass, as you all know. Below the surface of the earth there is water that is freely flowing through gravity. That is also known as flow through porous media. So soil water is there within the soil mass is known as soil water. Okay. It is again categorized into two classifications. First one is free water and second one is held water. Held water. Water that is flowing freely through gravity is known as free water. As we have seen in hydrology also, runoff reaches the water table and freely it flows through gravity, hence it is known as free water or gravitational water. Held water means water that is held within the pores of the soil is called held water. Again, this held water is classified into three categories. First one is structural water and second one is adsorbed water and third one is capillary water. These are the classifications of held water again. Water that is held tightly within the pores of the soil is called held water. Structural water, it represents the water within the original structure and skeleton, that is soil fabric. What is structure? Original structure of the soil is also called as soil fabric. So the water that is present in the soil fabric is called structural water. It represents the original soil solids. So you cannot remove structural water simply by oven drying or by heating or by any other techniques. If you want to remove the structural water from the soil mass, you need to heat at higher degree temperatures, greater than 300 degrees. Then only the water will come out of the structure, because the structure breaks, the soil breaks if you heat at such a higher temperatures. Once it was asked as assertion and reason type in IES examination. So what is adsorbed water? Already we have seen adsorbed water. Water that is adsorbed on the surface of the soil is called adsorbed water. Mainly it is due to chemical weathering. Because of electrochemical forces, this adsorbed water is present on the surface of the clay mineral, what we call. So this is also known as hygroscopic water. It is also known as hygroscopic water. All this discussion is very important. Hygroscopic water. It is generally assumed that you can remove hygroscopic water simply on oven drying. Also this hygroscopic water depends upon humidity and temperature of the environment. Humidity and temperature. Next one is capillary water. What is capillary water? Water that rises because of capillarity is known as capillary water. Due to surface tension of the liquid, water rises, that is capillary action. Well, now we discuss the surface tension property of water. Capillarity also depends on surface tension. Surface tension. Mainly the surface tension and capillarity concepts are due to cohesion and adhesion. These are the forces, cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion means the force of attraction between two similar molecules. Adhesion means the force of attraction between two different molecules is called adhesive force, cohesive force. Surface tension is mainly due to cohesive force. See here, this is the free surface. This is the free surface of the liquid. Consider a molecule D. Consider a molecule A, let us say, on the free surface of the liquid. It is exposed to air on the top, and the bottom water is there. It is pulling, water is pulling, water force is there. The water is pulling like this. This is cohesive force. Force of attraction between two water molecules here, and At this juncture, at the top it is due to air. Let us consider another molecule B here. This is inside the body of water, hence it is pulled by water in all directions. Hence it is pulled by water in all directions. This molecule B is equally surrounded by water molecules on all the directions. Hence it is cohesive force is predominant on B. Compared to A, cohesive force is predominant on B. So to maintain, this is the concept of surface tension. Surface tension tries to minimize the surface area of the particle as small as possible. The force per unit length, it is defined as the force per unit length of an imaginary line drawn on the surface of the liquid. Mainly, it resists the tensile stress. Because of this resistance to tensile stress, an insect can walk on the surface of the water. This surface tension property is formed only when there is a binary, means two. Binary means two. Liquid and air interface. This is liquid here. Below the free surface, it is liquid, water. Above the free surface, it is air. So it is nothing but air-water interface. So whenever there is air-water interface, then only the surface tension will exist. Surface tension property is formed whenever there is an interface between two liquids or one liquid and one gas. Air is nothing but gas. So because of this surface tension, cohesive force, surface tension is mainly due to cohesive force. Adhesive force means force of attraction between two dissimilar molecules is called adhesive force. What is the dimensional formula of surface tension? Important. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Acceleration Lt power minus 2 divided by L. Dimensional formula of surface tension is mt power minus 2. All this you have studied in physics. Na? Now we discuss the capillarity. So before discussing capillarity, let us consider one glass tube here. This is one glass of water. Let us say one glass tube is immersed in this. Yes, we have immersed. Here three things are there. What are they? Glass, water and one tube that is inserted into the glass. So again there is air-water interface. Again due to surface tension water will rise, capillarity rise. So capillary rise will be there here. What is this amount of rise? Hc, capillarity height. This rise. If you consider like this, surface tension force tries to pull upwards. Surface tension tries to pull upwards. So the shape is like this, concave upward. Here which force is dominating? Cohesive force is dominating. So it is making an angle theta with the glass tube. The surface tension force is making an angle theta, contact angle between the water and the glass. So this assembly, weight of water acts vertically downwards. Weight of water always acts vertically downwards. The surface tension is trying to pull in the upward direction. So to maintain the equilibrium of this assembly of glass, water and tube, we consider the force equilibrium. What we do? Force equilibrium from the principles of hydraulics, statics and dynamics. All it is mechanics, no? Either fluid mechanics or solid mechanics. Force equilibrium means upward force is equal to downward force. Upward force is equal to downward force. What is upward force? Upward force is T cos theta over the perimeter of the tube. So T cos theta into pi d. T cos theta into pi d is equal to downward force is due to self weight only. Weight equal to gamma into volume. So gamma into volume is nothing but height into diameter. Pi d square by 4. Upward force is equal to downward force. Just we are equating the forces. Force equilibrium. So Hc we want amount of capillary rise. T cos theta into pi d upon pi d square by 4 into gamma W. This is water only, hence gamma W. Gamma W. This pi get cancelled. 1d will go. 4t cos theta upon gamma W into d. 4t cos theta by gamma W into d. This t is also known as surface tension. You can denote by T or sigma. Both are same. So this surface tension tries to pull the body in upward direction. Here cohesive force dominates over adhesion. Because of adhesion with dissimilar molecules, adhesive force it is making an angle contact angle theta. So Hc is equal to, finally we arrived an expression 4t cos theta upon gamma W into d. For pure water and clean glass tube, theta is equal to 0. Hence expression becomes Hc is equal to 4t by gamma W into d. Cos 0 is equal to 1. Hence the expression becomes 4t by gamma W into d. Very important concept. Hc is inversely proportional to d. From this we can arrive like this. Lesser the diameter of the tube, greater will be the capillarity rise. Lesser will be the pore size of the particle, greater will be the rise. So because in fine grained soils we can observe, fine grained soils have least specific surface area, thereby they are having the highest capillarity rise compared to coarse grained soils. For water, surface tension force sigma is equal to 0.073 Newton per meter and gamma W is equal to 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube. 1 kilonewton is 1000 Newton. 9810 Newton per meter cube. Thereby Hc is equal to, on substituting you get 3 into 10 power minus 5 upon d meter. In meters you will get. This expression is important for competitive examinations. You will get one question like this. Just force equilibrium only. If effective grain size is given, then how to compute? If effective size is given, grain size is given of the soil, then how to compute the capillarity rise? Then Hc is equal to question mark. How to compute like this? So we know that void ratio is equal to Vv by Vs. Yes. Vv means it is proportional to dq. Vv is proportional to dq because volume of the void is proportional to the size of the void dq. Volume of solids proportional to d10 cube as it represents the grain size only, soil sizes. So Vs is proportional to d10 cube. Thereby we can say that E is equal to d by d10 whole cube. This implies d cube is equal to E times d10 cube. D is equal to e power 1 by 3 d10. D is equal to e power 1 by 3 d10. Given the effective size, we can find the diameter of the particle by using the formula E, which D is equal to e power 1 by 3 d10. Thereby substituting Hc equal to 4t cos theta by gamma W into d. Substitute this d in this expression, thereby you will get the amount of capillarity height. Also this is important in fluid mechanics also, once it was asked. 4t cos theta by gamma w. If you forget the formula, just go to the derivation, force equilibrium only. So given the effective size, capillarity rise Hc is equal to 4t cos theta upon gamma w into e power 1 by 3 d10. Take it as note. Once in IAS examination, this was asked as it is. So if effective grain size is given, this is the concept. Later, Terzaghi and Peck also gave their own equation from the analysis and experiments. What they gave? Hc max, the maximum amount of capillarity rise is equal to C by E d10. If d10 is in mm, if effective size, grain size is in mm, then the quotient will be 10 to 50 mm square. Mm square divided by mm, that is nothing but rise only mm. E has no unit, it is wide ratio, ratio will not have any unit at all. So this is the formula they gave, Terzaghi and Peck, for capillarity rise. This is important for IAS examination, least important for GATE examination. Later concept is permeability. Permeability is one of the most important engineering property. All these permeability, shear strength are engineering properties of soil mechanics. Already we have seen index properties, grain size, relative density, all these are index properties. And permeability is one of the most engineering property of the soil mechanics. It involves the application of flow of water. Permeability means the ability of water to flow. The ease of water to flow is known as permeability. It is also called as hydraulic conductivity. It has almost good important applications in soil engineering. See, water is the main cause for most instability of the geotechnical structures. All settlement failures, most of the failures takes place because of this water only. Because of this even capillarity water, you can find the frost heave and frost boil. Most of the failures are taking place due to capillarity water in pavement surfaces. Because of this capillarity action, water will come up. Mainly, when temperatures fall below subfrozen temperatures, what happens? All the water converts into ice, and thereby the water will convert into ice. The water converts into ice crystals. The water converts into ice crystals, and thereby the capillarity rise will come. Thereby the pavement cracks. So that cracking and all other failures are of the runway, pavement, highway, all that is due to this capillarity only. Even at night time, even during daytime, what happens? The ice converts into water. Because of water, the road becomes very soft, and again cracks will come. Because of water, softness increases. No? Hence cracks will occur. So capillarity is a disadvantage. At one juncture. At another juncture, it is an advantage. How? Because of this capillarity, negative tension is developing. Tension force is developing. So we consider tension negative in soil mechanics. Tension we are considering negative in soil mechanics. In solid mechanics, tension force is positive. Compression is negative there. But here tension is negative. Because of capillarity, tension is developing, and the capillarity tension is negative, thereby effective stress increases, thereby shear strength increases. Once it is an advantage, at another juncture it is a disadvantage. So if you draw the stress distribution diagram like this, negative tension, that is minus Hc times gamma W, and this is hydrostatic compression Z times gamma W. It looks like this. Negative tension is negative, we consider. So to understand better this permeability, we need to understand the head of water. Head of water or energy of water. Or energy of water. What we are studying, we have been studying from basics. Flowing water has infinite amount of kinetic energy. Yes, it has high velocity also. When water comes and falls from higher altitudes, water has tremendous amount of energy, kinetic energy. Also it has potential energy because of height. Let us consider the two vessels, A and B. Vessel A. This is one pipe. Inside the pipe, let us say it is a soil sample. Two vessels A and B are there at different heights. Height of A is H1, let us say, and height of B is H2. Height of B is H2. You can get a vessel or a reservoir connected by a pipe having soil sample in it. All this is filled with water. This is also water. Okay. Here flow takes place only when there is a difference in the head. Yes. Flow always occurs from higher elevation to lower elevation. Otherwise flow will not take place. See here, if the two reservoirs are like this, are this flow is taking place? No. Flow is not taking place. Just they are constant reservoirs. Standstill position, no flow at all. Flow takes place only when there is a difference in the total head. Then what is pressure head? To determine the amount of pressure head, what we learnt in fluid mechanics, insert one piezometer. Depth of water in the piezometer, the amount of water rising in the piezometer is called pressure head. To find pressure head at B, insert one piezometer at B. Yes, inserted. The liquid rise in the piezometer is called pressure head at B. How do you determine the amount of pressure head? It is denoted by P by rho G. P by rho G. All these heights we are measuring from certain elevation. Datum. Datum means one fixed reference line. But in soil mechanics, we consider this downstream level, water level itself as datum. In fluid mechanics, we can take anything, atmospheric pressure as datum. But in soil mechanics, this downstream water surface is taken as datum surface. And we measure the elevation height from the datum only. This is Z, amount of rise from datum. This is 0 because itself is a reference. Hence there is no rise here. So the depth of water in the piezometer is called pressure head. Datum is denoted by Z and velocity head is denoted by V square by 2G. This we study in your Bernoulli's principle in fluid mechanics. P1 plus rho G plus V1. So when flow takes place from higher head to lower head, always there is a loss of energy. Flow cannot take place simply without loss of energy. Means if you cannot move from here to some nearby station without loss of energy. There is a loss of energy through your movement. A kinetic energy is lost, some amount of energy is lost. Hence, soil flow, where water while flowing through higher elevation to lower elevation, there is a loss of energy. So this Z plus P by rho G is called piezometric head. So this P1 by rho G plus V1 square by 2G plus Z1 is equal to P2 by rho G plus V2 square by 2G plus Z2. This is what Bernoulli gave. But is this valid? It is valid under certain conditions only. But this is not a general energy equation. Because while flow is taking place, there is associated with loss of energy. When you assume that fluid is inviscid ideal, then HF is 0. Thereby you will get P1 by rho G plus V1 square by 2G plus Z1 is equal to P2 by rho G plus V2 square by 2G plus Z2. This is Bernoulli's equation for certain conditions. Ideal flow is inviscid like that. This Z plus P by rho G is called piezometric head. You are using estimate, you have to estimate the piezometric head. Questions will come. Next concept is Darcy's principle. Darcy's principle. So Darcy assumed that velocity of flow is proportional to gradient, hydraulic gradient. This gradient is equal to head loss per unit length. This Gradient is nothing but head loss per unit length of the soil sample. Head loss is nothing but H1 minus H2. That is nothing but delta H by L. Delta H by L. It has no unit. If you replace the proportionality constant, V is equal to Ki. This K is called coefficient of permeability. The unit of K is same as that of unit of velocity. Velocity unit is meter per second or mm per second or cm per second, centimeter per second. So therefore the coefficient of permeability also has velocity unit only. Important. Units of coefficient of permeability, meter per second. Options will come. Meter per second, centimeter per second, like that. So this is the Darcy's principle. This is valid for laminar flow conditions. It's valid for laminar flow conditions. If you consider the amount of flow from higher elevation to lower elevation, it also obeys the hydraulic principles. So according to continuity equation, Q is the amount of rate of flow discharge is equal to A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Can I write like this? Yes, obviously I can write from the fundamentals of fluid mechanics. So flow is taking place through the entire cross-sectional area of the soil. But real flow takes place only through the voids of the soil. Even though there is a soil mass like this, flow is taking place, but flow is passing through only voids only. So area of voids into seepage velocity. Water is seeping through the void. Seeping means flowing. This implies AV by A is equal to V by Vs is equal to porosity. Why? Porosity N is equal to Vv upon V. It is also known as AV by A. Depth is same. Then Vv by A can be equal to AV by A. This implies Vs is equal to V by N. Seepage velocity is equal to discharge velocity upon porosity. This V is called discharge velocity or apparent velocity or superficial velocity. Water is not flowing through the total cross-sectional area of the soil sample. It is flowing through the area through void only. Wherever there is a void gap, there water will jump and flow. So this is rate of flow. Discharge is nothing but rate of flow. If V is equal to Ki, Q is equal to A into V, hence Ki into A. Rate of flow discharge is equal to Ki into A. It is nothing but Darcy's law. Rate of flow is equal to area times velocity. Area into velocity is how much? K into I. So Kia. This is important. Seepage velocity, discharge velocity by porosity. Once they asked this in GATE exam. And also I like IAS objective exam. Important for GATE. GATE and IAS. GATE people can. Then also they will give sometimes void ratio. And they ask to compute the seepage velocity. E is equal to the relationship between E and N. N is equal to E by 1 plus E. E is equal to N by 1 minus N. Hereby you compute the seepage velocity. What are the factors affecting the permeability? What are the other tests? How do you determine the permeability in the field and in the lab? All the other details you will see in the next class. Subscribe and like the channel for more videos like this. If you like the subscribe, also share the video with your friends. If the amount of subscribers is very high, then also will get interested to teach more concepts. So share the video with your friends and others and have a good session.